Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Welcome to Friday afternoons. You know you've made it because you're hearing my melodious voice. It's Friday. We're going to give people just a couple more minutes to get logged on and start in about a minute or so. So welcome back everybody. Don Day, Philip. Philip, you can actually just type in a topic you'd like to see right in the comments right now, and we will add it to the list. And apparently Dave's lawn is going to go unmowed because he's choosing to hang out with us instead. So you made the right decision, Dave. Happy New Year, Syed. Bradley, hi from Pikes Peak. Welcome back, Marconi. Hello, are you saying you're from Chile, Philip? I'm assuming that's how I'm reading it. And hello from the United States. Spain? How are things out in Spain right now? When are things out in Spain right now? Like low there or late there? I don't know. That whole time zone thing confuses me. I'm easily confused. All right, it is officially noon. All right, one request for a little bit more volume. I could do that. One sec. All right, is that a little better? I'm pushed into the yellow, Marconi. I can't go too much higher. I'll get in trouble. Spain's about 8 p.m. That's not too bad. Sao Paulo, Utah. The far reaches of Utah. Hello, Burn Dog. Waldy37, aka Binder. All right. Let's do this thing. Let's get something started. All right, hello and welcome. I did say last week that I wasn't going to be here this week, but plans changed and I'm here. So got that going for you. Good, bad, whatever. Yeah, I will actually be not in next week, but this week, you know, my schedule got flipped around a little bit. So we are gonna do some modeling this week instead. So don't come by next week. Take next week off. You guys deserve it, and we'll get back to it the week after next. But for now, we are going to model a bridge. So we've had several questions. Oh, but wait, hold up. I forgot the important stuff. With me today over there, where you can't see him, is my friend Kevin. Kevin, say hi.
Hello, friends.
Kevin's going to help me out with monitoring comments and making sure I stay on track, that sort of thing, because I don't have to explain to you guys. You know why. You know why he's here. So everybody say hi to Kevin when you have a chance. And lots of highs. Hello, South Africa, London, Kuwait. Wow. I love it. It blows my mind how many of you guys there are and how far you come from for this stuff. Sorry, that sounded like I had disdain for this fun time we get to have together is how I meant for that to come out. Anyhow, let's get rolling. So we had several requests for bridges. And they kind of spanned all different kinds. People asked for some very popular bridges, Golden Gate London. Some people asked for specific suspension cable bridges, that kind of thing. I was looking through some. We had a request about 3 weeks ago, something like that. And somebody asked for a Japanese walking bridge, which I didn't know was a specific thing. But I went and looked it up. And I'll just show you guys some of the things that I found. So I found some images like this. And I just think this is so cool. So this is the bridge. There's some other pieces on here. I do have the traditional Japanese gateway. Got lanterns. So this is all from a couple pictures from a couple different gardens. Another bridge with some lanterns. I just thought that was such a striking image. And it's a little bit different from, I just kind of felt like some of the big structural bridges kind of fell in line maybe with what we had done for like the Empire State Building or other big buildings. So I thought this might be a fun thing to do. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit little bit, well, it's a little more 3-hour-y, if you know what I mean. I figured we'd go for something like this. That's not to say we won't take detours and maybe talk about some bigger bridges, but I thought this would be kind of a fun model, and I think we can make it look nice. That said, I'm not going to specifically import these images and trace them. That's something we've done in the past. We've done a lot of reference images, that kind of thing. I think what we'll do this time is actually just kind of use these images as inspiration, and we'll just model our own bridge. So as usual, you guys have questions, comments, corrections, throw them out, put them in there. If my head's down, Kevin will let me know that you guys are correcting me and telling me how I should be doing things. That's cool. So we're gonna hop right in, and hopefully this is a good time for you guys. Hopefully everybody learned something. That's really why we're here. That's what I tell myself, is that we're here because you're learning something. And until somebody tells me different, I'm going to keep assuming that is true. So with that all said, let's go ahead and hop in here. So I was actually thinking about going in and modeling some quick terrain, specifically just like, a big rectangle of terrain with a little cutout in it for a riverbed that we could span a bridge over. But I figured that's actually kind of a fun thing to do, as a group, and not do it by myself. Cava Manera is already heading off because it's 3. Okay, going to work. I accept that. That is a valid reason to miss out. Don't tease me by showing up and then saying you have to leave 5 minutes in. But that's an acceptable reason. You can go. You can go now. You're excused. Everybody else has to stick around. And several people will take notes, and you can catch them later. If you do have to leave during the stream, these streams are saved. They do live in perpetuity on YouTube as a live video. They also will sit on Facebook in our stream under videos. You can go find them there. And they'll stick around for about 2 weeks on Twitch before they disappear entirely. So Cowboy USA has to head out too. Man, I guess I just picked the wrong time of afternoon for y'all. That's all right. The rest of you guys will just have to make up for them being gone. So, as I was saying, I figured we would start by just doing some super quick landscape. We'll just kind of, like I said, I'm just going to use sandbox tools. We'll just kind of throw in a rectangle, drop in a riverbed. Maybe we'll intersect some water or something like that. It'll be fun. So having said that, I did bring in this kind of cool cherry blossom tree. I want to throw this over the bridge when we're done, but for right now, we can take this out. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase it. Because you don't have to worry. I did download it into the model, so it is, if I look at my in-model components, my tree's still here, so I can drop it back in later. I don't have to worry about like re-download or anything like that. A nice thing about how components work. Unless, of course, I, for some reason, decide to go in and purge my model. Purge cleans up all the extra stuff you have in your model, and it will actually get rid of something like that unused material. All right, so I'm going to start here with sandbox tools. I'm going to go up to View. I'm going to Tool Palettes, and I'm going to turn on, never find it, Sandbox Tools. That's going to give me this little teeny tiny set of tools right here. So I'm going to use this second one, which is, I think it's called Draw Grid. My pop-ups aren't working right now. So I'm just going to pick a spot to start, and I'm going to drag out a line. Actually, before I do that, you can see right now I have a grid spacing of 5 feet. So that might be a little bit big. I'm going to go to 2 feet. I'm not going to make a huge, this isn't going to be hundreds of feet. This is going to be a fairly small piece of land, so I don't want to do anything. 5 feet's kind of big for my purposes. So I'm just going to say maybe 30 feet by, I'll say 50 feet. All right, so there is our initial ground. I'm going to click in here, and I'm just going to, I'm going to keep this simple. I'm going to grab the Smooth tool. Smooth. I'm not mispronouncing that. That's actually how you say the tool. And sometimes, I don't know if you guys have ever had this. I do this all the time, where I come in here and my cursor is just a little dot, a little icon, and I don't get the little radius of influence circle that I want to see there. And that's because if I look at my radius right now, it's at 200 feet. So that's going 200 feet every direction of my cursor. That's way bigger than what I have here. I only want my riverbed, my actual river to be like 4 feet wide. So I'm going to put 4 foot. Let's bring my circle back down. There we go. That makes more sense. And I'm just going to drag this vertically. I'm going to work my way down like this. And now I want to remind everybody, I am aware extensions exist. I know there's different ways I could be doing this. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of go with something simple. Actually, no, let's back up and talk about simple. It's one of my favorite topics. I feel comfortable with simple. I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab 2 rows, 2 of those 2 foot members, and I'm going to grab them and I'm going to use move to move them vertically. I'm just going to slide them straight down. That's going to give me a very, very simple just dent down like that. It's also very uniform. Now I can come back, I can grab my smooth tool now. I got to unselect everything first. And now grab my smooth tool, and now I can do things like give myself some variety on the riverbed. I can also grab the bottom if I want. There's some little indents in the bottom. Things are very rarely perfect in nature. So there's something a little bit more, it looks more like a river. It is fairly straight, but I'm gonna pretend I like that. All right, so that's a pretty basic shape right there. I can take that and I'm gonna reverse faces. You wanna see the outside. And while it's selected, I'm just gonna hop right over here to soften and smooth it out all the way. That looks pretty okay. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna throw a quick color on there. I'm gonna go to my landscaping and I'm just gonna chuck some grass on here. And now, obviously, that works for out here, but somewhere in here, there's going to, I'm not gonna have grass under the water is basically what I'm thinking about right now. There's a bunch of ways I could put water in, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna draw a rectangle, a big rectangle, and I'm gonna take that rectangle, I'm gonna move it vertically, like the water's receding to right there. That's where I want to intersect my land. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna say intersect faces with the entire model. That gets me that. I'm gonna come cut it off at the end of the river here to here. And then I can get rid of these pieces around the outside. And I can select and reverse the face here. Now to get it so it's actually see-through so it looks like a river, I'm just gonna put a material on there. I'll go to my waters and I will take this as a translucent material and put it right there. All right, so there we go. So we got a little river. Again, it's still not, we still have a thing where it's grass under the water. I'm thinking of a couple ways to do this. I'm gonna go ahead and make my water a group right now. And I'm gonna draw another rectangle. I'm gonna triple click this. I'm gonna shift that vertically, not down to the water, but I'm gonna stay up a little ways above it, something like maybe like that, and do the same thing. Intersect face, actually, I'm not gonna do that. Or am I? What am I going to do? No, I'm gonna grab this right now, all of it, there's all this geometry, and I'm gonna cut it. Command X, cut it out. I'm gonna go into context, so I'm gonna go into the group that my landscape is inside of, and I'm going to paste this right back exactly where it is. So I'm gonna hit paste in place. And now I'm gonna select not this piece, but this piece right here, right click, intersect faces with context. With context says intersect this geometry with everything else that's in the current context. So in this case, in the group that I'm inside of. With context, that's gonna break it. So now I can just, I'm not really concerned about this face. I can get rid of this, and I'll take this face, and I will give that a, let's see, where's my, actually I think if I go to landscaping, here, oh, I like this one. This is my, something like that. And put a stone type material on there. So it's quick and easy. We didn't beat that one to death, but it gives me enough to know what exactly I'm building. Something I might do here, just to go little, just to get it, that little extra something. I may come in here with erase and soften some of this geometry so that so I have a nice smooth riverbed right there. In fact, I'll triple click and re-soften that. All right, that looks pretty sweet. You know what time it is?
Time to save.
That's right. Kevin has watched this before, so he knows exactly why that is an issue. In case you guys haven't caught this before, there may have been a time or two in the past where maybe I modeled for a full hour and didn't save and lost everything. So it happens. Not a proud moment, but it did unfortunately happen.
Do you want me to set a timer?
No way. This is accountability. You guys have to remind me to save. That's how we set up accountability here. It's never my fault. If I lose everything, it's on you. I got enough going on. Seriously, I got cameras and TV screens and stuff. You guys have to remember the saving part. All right, so let's go save this. I'm gonna call this, I don't know, let's call it Bridge, because I'm unique like that. All right.
Getting a question from Ismail Flores asking, how did you paste in place? Someone suggested that you might have a mouse macro set up for that.
That is exactly right. I have so over here on my left hand is my 3D Connection Space Mouse Enterprise, my 3D mouse. That's why I do all this nice soft spinning around with. It also has a series of buttons up here. I have a button mapped to paste in place, and it is normally, if you don't have it, you can go up to edit and hit paste in place right here. I have a shortcut key assigned, so it just speeds up the process for me, because I find it's one of those things I do a lot. So I actually decided that a shortcut key was the way to do that. Yeah, Dave's calling this out. I probably would come in here and hide the edges here, so I might turn off. So I'm going to triple click to select the whole surface and then turn the surface off. Go to Entity Info and toggle that off, so all nice and smooth. I want to go just a little bit further because there's one more thing I want to add. Over here I'm going to draw another rectangle on the ground. I'm going to go use a tool. Actually, I want to back up for 1 second. In order to really enjoy what we're doing here, I hope you guys are already enjoying it, but to really get the most out of it, there's a belief that I have, which I happen to be wearing on my shirt right now, and I just wanted to call it out. It's small text, so I figured I should point it out. It says, low expectations, high hopes. You'll get the most out of our hours together if you maintain this level of expectation. So, just wanted to call that out. I don't know if everybody caught that, but you'll really enjoy yourself more if you don't hold me to too high of a standard. I don't think I've straight up disappointed anybody yet, but it's possible. Anyhow, backing up, I'm going to use a command like I said. I don't use this very often. It's the freehand command. And the freehand command allows you to click and drag your mouse. This is one of the few times you want to actually use the click and drag as opposed to click and release. And I'm going to draw a couple of lines like this. And then I'm going to take that. This is now my walkway. I'm going to take that and I'm going to slide it over here. And let's see, how should I do this? There's so many ways to do things in SketchUp. I'm going to use PushPull. I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to send that all the way through. Now, when I come in here, this is kind of cool. This is the normal view in SketchUp, right? When you go into a component, everything that's outside that component grays out. But you can toggle that view. So I can actually, I have a shortcut hit to hide rest. So that's up here. If I go to view, component edit, hide similar components and hide rest of model, I have a toggle here on hide rest of model. So I can actually flip that back and forth. But what I can do now is I can actually pick, let's see, what's the best way to do this? I hid those lines, so there's a little bit more. Well, I can just do this. I'll select this surface, right click, intersect face with model. That's going to hit select intersect with everything in the whole model, even though it's not visible. So when I do that, I get those lines show up right away. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in here. I want to get rid of, well, I'll have to rehide these lines in a second. Actually, I don't even have to hide anything because I can just say, pick this. Actually, let's use a different, I broke that. Got ahead of myself. All right, I'm gonna say we have a path here. And I'm realizing now just how big that path is. Hold up, let's back up. I'm gonna take this whole thing, scale that thinner to get a nice walking size path. I'm looking at Mark thinking, yeah, that's about the size of that's a 2-person path. Let's slide it over here. I'm gonna come into this group, select this surface, right click, intersect faces with model. That gets me my broken lines there. I'm gonna grab my path material, put it here and here, triple click and re-soften again, then I'll get rid of my lines. Now when I get rid of this, now I got this is where my bridge has to go. So we're gonna get Mark across this bridge safely and dryly. That's is dryly a word, Kevin?
I don't actually know. I will look it up. Yes, dryly is in the dictionary. It is in a matter of fact or ironically humorous way, apparently, or
yeah.
a dry way or condition.
Oh, like say something dryly, like, oh, yeah, I gotcha.
So it can be both. It can be both. I am a dry person and I am dry.
Okay, so let's keep Mark dryly dry. I probably used that incorrectly, but we're moving on. Okie dokie. So, like I said, there's 3 things I want to get in here. That's 6 fingers. There's 3 things I want to get in here. I want to get a bridge. I want to get a cool looking gateway, and I want to get some lanterns on here. Maybe just at the 4 corners on either side, or maybe we'll stretch this out and put some along the walkway. So we're gonna get that in here. I don't need colors anymore. I don't need my sandbox tools. I do need to save. And we'll start modeling here. All right, I think I'm going to the bridge of low expectations. I'm on board with that. We'll have to find a place to put that. And I'm gonna throw this out too. I'm a big fan of Japanese culture and tradition, and I think they have amazing history that they still tie to or keep relevant in their society nowadays. I think it's really cool. So, but I don't know a whole lot about some of it. So when I look at pictures like some of this stuff, there may be reasons for some of these pieces and parts, and if I unintentionally do something wrong, it's not intended to be disrespectful to the heritage of whatever that thing is I'm doing. So like these gateways, I have seen just tons of pictures, and if you go to Japan, they're actually in a lot of places. When you go into parks, you walk underneath them, but I don't know what the significance is to any of the geometry or anything like that. So if anybody wants to call me out because I'm doing something wrong, I won't be offended.
That's called Torii gates.
Torii gates. I buy that. It's better than the. Yeah, that's totally acceptable. I said I knew gate was in it somewhere, even though it's not like I was thinking, gates being open and closable, but it's a transition from one spot to another. I think that's the general concept. So with these, the thing that I generally see repeating is they're usually on some kind of a platform or concrete or stone or something like that. They usually have slightly tapering posts or columns going up. This bottom piece is usually straight across. I've seen a couple of them with some additional detail at that connection from that beam to the columns. And then the top usually is like this, where it's square on the bottom and then has that gentle arc, that gentle flare on the top. So yeah, something like that. So I want to try to just kind of model something similar to that. Again, I'm not going to keep in mind a specific ratio or anything like that. We're just going to kind of model what looks good. Once again, this is the Aaron interpretation of a real world thing. I've come pretty close on some of them. That Vader lightsaber was pretty close to Vader. I didn't have to put my own spin on that very much. So that's, oh, and this is another thing that I've seen. They do have these little, I'm assuming this is sort of a, I don't know if this is a sign of like the name of the thing you're entering or what that is. I'm assuming that's what it is, where this is like the title of where you're going. So that could be this, maybe this is the park of high hopes and low expectations that we're walking into. The river of high hopes. Anyhow, so with all of those words I just said, let's go do this. So one thing to note is I did come in here and I did a bunch of transformations, but this section right here, from about my red line out, is flat. So it is a flat surface that I can model on. So if I want to come in here and build my column foundations, I can click on here and I'm assured I'm going to stay on a flat surface. If this was more cut up and I actually had more geometry there, I'd probably want to come out and do most of that work out here in space, because I don't want to accidentally snap to a weird angle or something like that. But since I didn't do that, just come out here and we'll come out, yeah, so if I say, let's say, I did that wrong. That's too big. All right, 2 feet. That sounds good. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit. And this is going to be kind of my foundation. So I'm actually do want to extend it below. Something like that. Okay. I'm gonna model this as I create each, or I'm gonna color this as I create each piece too. So I'm gonna come into my paint bucket. A lot of people call this out. They ask, where did I get that colored pencil extension? It's not an extension. This is just happens to be one of the basic color viewers in Mac. Windows is a little bit different. I think in Windows there's actually a crayon view where you get very similar information, but it's not colored pencils, it's crayons. Go figure. Windows and Mac doing something very similar, but just slightly different from each other. It's an OS thing. So what we actually do, what SketchUp does, is we take the native coloring tools, so the native tools inside of the operating system, and use that for a color toolbox. So rather than having to create our own and maintain our own, we just use the one with the operating system. So because I'm a Mac, I get colored pencils. So I'm going to pick on the one called Licorice. Some would call it dark black, maybe even gray or black. But yeah, so that's going to be my base. I'm going to go ahead and make it into a component. And I will call this my bridge column foundation. All right. Now on top of that, I'm going to draw the beginnings of my actual column. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to snap to the middle point and I'm going to pull out a column. Yeah, I'm going to go 8 inches like that. Looks good. I am using, here, I'm going to actually bring Mark over. Come here, Mark. Come here. Come here. All right, he's going to stand right here. And we're going to use him as a reference. So it is significantly taller than a person. All right. So that's a little over 10 feet. And I'm going to take that then, and I'm going to grab by the top circle and scale it. I'm going to scale from a corner with the Option key, Control key on Windows, to give that a slight taper. Like I said, it's not that extreme taper, but there is a taper. I think you can actually see in this image, it looks like this is a shaved down tree, so you can actually see the texture on there. There we go. Lost my mouse for a second. So this is what we got so far. We got this, now we got this kind of coming up. Looks good thus far. Yes, Dave Richards called out, I should show this, absolutely. I can actually grab and move. Whoops, one too many undos. If I grab this, hold on, I'm trying to remember how to do this now, Dave. So there's these things called cardinal points. Oh, if I go to move, there we go. So a circle right here has kind of 4 built-in control points. I'm going to temporarily draw an X on here. These are the axes. I drew this in line with the world axes. So this top point, this bottom point, this left and right point are cardinal points. If I go to move, if you go to move and don't select anything at all, then when you hover over geometry, it lights up for you to move. If you move over a point, then you can actually grab the geometry by that point. Special control in here is if I hover over a cardinal point, like this one at the bottom, and I click and drag, I'll actually resize that curve or circle. So kind of a fun little hidden gem in there that you can actually resize without using, you can resize circles without using scale or anything like that. So I'm gonna triple click. I'm gonna color that. I'm gonna use my maraschino. So I got licorice and maraschino so far. It's a tasty looking gate. All right, I'm gonna grab that and I'm gonna make that another component. I am intentionally making components here. Components because as I'm making each of these pieces, they are pieces, they're things now. So that has become a thing I wanna potentially change in the future, but I'm making them components because there's gonna end up being multiples of these. And I don't wanna have to come and change one side and then change the other because I made them groups. I'm intentionally making components so that changing one is reflected in the other. So I'm gonna call this my gate column. As I'm typing those things, I'm kind of feeling like, yeah, I call this one the bridge column. Fortunately, I can change that. This is my gate column foundation. All right, problem solved.
It's about that time.
Control S.
We did it.
We're learning, we're growing. All right, so back to the picture here. Or not, please. Please to the picture. All right, so now we have this big piece of material right here. I have no idea what size this material is, so I'm gonna just size it relative to the column I got going right now. Yeah, we'll see how that works. So I'm gonna do this I'm gonna start by turning on hidden geometry. And again, if I look at, so this right here, this line coming down here that's the, I don't know, as I look at the left side, I guess, I'm gonna draw a rectangle and I'm gonna click my red inferencing, that's gonna keep it flat to my face where I am. I'm gonna hit Option, that's gonna draw a rectangle from the middle, and I'm gonna click on this point. It's a shame that I'm red on red right now because it's kind of hiding it from me here. Let's do this temporarily. There we go. And now I can come up here and create the rectangle that I think I want. So it is definitely getting some inference chatter, maybe call it something like that. Trying to figure out how big I want this. Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me, snapping. Well, this may not have been. I was really hoping to use this as a reference, but because I'm snapping to those lines, it's not working great. So, not a big deal, because this is something I would have done probably off on the side anyhow. I'll go ahead and draw that rectangle, click on it, and hit Scale, and just scale about the middle to get it how big I think it should be. Actually, I guess it just needed to be a little bit wider.
Is there a macro some way to temporarily disable snapping?
There is not, but I have heard that request multiple times. So while I can say there is not one now, who knows what the future may hold. Now, it wasn't some way to hide a hint because I can't tell you what we're working on. I honestly haven't heard of us working on it, but I've heard it requested enough times that it could make its way onto a list at some point. All right, so the time has come where I obviously need to get that other column over here so I can properly place this. I'm gonna grab this, Option and move. I gotta get my components out of the way. How wide do we want this? All right, I'm gonna say I want to put this 9 feet away. I'll take this, and here's a cool thing. So I want to use push-pull because I want to, actually here, I'm gonna back up a sec. I'm gonna pull this out to the point where it intersects. So it's touching right there, and I'm gonna pull it out exact amount. I'm gonna say pull it out 9 inches. Because that kind of looks like what the other one is. That way I know when I get this side out, I can pull it 9 inches from the front and they'll be symmetrical. Speaking of pulling out from the front though, I can't see the inside. So the temptation now is to select and hide this or turn on X-ray or something like that, but you actually don't have to because if I'm in a command like push-pull, anytime I hover over a surface that is push-pullable, it lights up. This is happening even if I can't see it. So right now I'm actually over that surface and I can pull it out like that. And now I'm going to grab it here. I'm going to pull it back to the surface there, and I'm going to pull it out 9 inches. All right. And I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to make that into a component. That's going to be my gate lower beam. Okay, now, does look like that is a little bit further down. All right, that looks okay. I do think these come out a little bit further, so I'm gonna pull this out another 3 inches. And I'm just gonna double click on this end to extend the same amount. I am happy with this. This looks good. All right, so I do have these details. They show up in a couple different, I looked at more pictures than what I have here. So these ones are straight across, look like just extruded rectangles, whereas these kind of have a little bit of a point up. I don't know if this actually may be some kind of a assembly piece. Dave probably knows all about it. I don't know if those are like wedges that are wedged in there to hold the thing tight or something like that, but looks like it could be some unique Eastern joinery happening right there. Sorry, coffee break, back to work. So I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna make just a shape that we can stick in there. That is gonna represent those. We will call them wedges for lack of a better term. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. I'm gonna go grab a rectangle. I'm gonna hit Option to go to the center, and I'm gonna click to this point. That point is where the face, that edge of the circle intersects the middle. I'm gonna pull this out, like that. And I'll pull that up, like that, and then I will grab that line right there, and I'll just raise that vertically. And bring it down a little bit. This is the fun part. This is just the wing in it. All right, so I'm gonna grab that, make it a new component, and that is going to be my gate wedge. I said that with such certainty, I almost believed that I really knew what I was doing myself. All right, so we need to have one of these on the other side too. So I'm gonna hit rotate. I'm gonna go grab this column by the top, Option key to make a copy and flip it around like that. Then I'm gonna grab both of them and I'm gonna copy them from the middle of this column, Option to make a copy, to the middle of this column. Awesome. Oh, and I've been working in the monochrome view, so I don't realize that I'm not drawing in full color right now. So I'm gonna come in here, triple click, fill it. I should still be in my maraschino, my sugary pickled cherry color. All right, so here the nice thing is, since this is a component, I only have to fill one of them and they all get that same color. Ooh, guys, it's coming together. I'm liking it. All right, so for this top beam, yeah, you know, actually YouTube's asking, YouTube, not the actual platform, but the user who's watching on the platform YouTube is asking if I'm going to intersect this, and I think the answer is yes. I think I will go in and cut out space for these in this column. I do have more work to do on the column, so I'm not done just yet. I'm going to see where this goes up here if I have to cut this more, but what the hell, we'll just come and do it now. I'll go in, grab this one, and let's, for this, use our solid tools. As everything I made should be solid. These are all pretty simple shapes, yeah. So I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to say trim. Trim is the one that says keep my cutter intact, but remove the cut piece. So the way this works, as I learned, I think I picked this up last week, I want to trim this from this. So I select my cutter first, I click trim, and then I click the piece to be cut. And when I do that, so now if I grab this and move it out of the way, that has a hole through it. Some of you may be wondering why, if this is a component, this one didn't get cut too. This is one of the frustrating parts about intersect, or the solid tools in general, is as soon as I intersect it, this is no longer a component. This is now a solid group. So what I'll have to do is I will have to make this a new component and then replace this one. It's still not a whole lot of work, but it would be nice if that didn't happen. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna grab this wedge, trim this, grab this wedge, trim this. All right, so with that, if I slide that away, I have a hole in there that looks like that. Now, this over here, if we pick on this, this is a solid component called gate column. This one right here is a solid group called difference. So that's not gonna work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to select this one and rename the definition to gate column old. I'm gonna grab this one and I'm gonna make it a component. Since it's a group right now, I'm going to make it into a component, and I'm gonna call this is my new gate column. All right, so now gate column old, gate column. What I can do now is I can select gate column old, I can go to my components, and I can find my new gate column, right click, and say replace selected. So to see this, let's be able to see this well. See here where I don't have these intersecting lines? As soon as I say replace selected, it throws out the one that I had selected and puts this gate column in. So now, those two pieces are the same ones. So that's a little way to get around that, it not being columns after you do the intersection. I don't need this gate column old anymore, so I'm just gonna right click on it. Come here. There we go. Delete it, and now I don't have it in my model anymore. A micro purge. All right, so if I come back over to my image here, this is pretty typical, again, on the gates that I've looked at, to have kind of a circle, like a top piece that goes bigger than the beam. So we'll go ahead and put that on. This beam looks like it's about the same width as the lower beam, and then the one on top gets bigger. So we'll go ahead and throw that in right now. I'm gonna make this a separate piece. I don't know if this is all cut out of one piece or not, but I'm gonna just make mine a little bit bigger. I'm gonna go to red axes, like that, and then I'll just pull that up, and I will grab that. Oh, here, I'll color it while I'm here. More maraschino. And I will make that a component, and I will call that my gate column cap. All right, now I gotta move it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna copy it using this point right here because I have this point, Option, and then copy it here. These 2 points are relative to the same spot on the top of that cap. So, all right, looking good. Great time to save. I'm sorry, I'm not even giving you guys an opportunity to save. Oh, SketchUp reminded me. Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome.
All right. So, to make my upper beam, I'm going to start by grabbing this piece right here, and I'm going to grab it by the bottom, Option, and I'm going to constrain to vertical and slap it on top. Now, I know that these two pieces aren't the same. They are different sizes, but this gives me geometry to work with. If I come in here and I start making changes now, if I come in here, push, pull, or whatever, it's going to change both of them. So one of the things I'm going to do before I do anything else is right-click, and I'm going to hit Make Unique. That makes it, it's still a component, but now it's a separate component. If you look over here, this is what SketchUp does when you hit Make Unique. It takes the name of the original component and appends #1, or #1, or tic-tac-toe 1, whatever you want to call it. I don't need that. I'm going to get rid of that, but I'm going to change lower to upper. Hey Ian, welcome. All right, so now that I've made that independent, I can do whatever I want. So if I look at my reference photo again, it looks like it's maybe a touch shorter, but then it starts to flare out. So, and it's also definitely shorter. I mean, it's like maybe 1/3 the height. So I'll go ahead and head in here. So one of the things that I could do is grab the outside and start deforming that. But remember, when you do this, you're actually deforming the container for the geometry, not the geometry itself. I actually want to change the geometry, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to push this down like this. And then maybe I'll just grab the bottom and use scale about the middle to kind of just pull that in a little bit. I'm not too upset with that. So with that, I will come back in here. I'm going to turn my rest of my model back on, and I'm going to offset this right here some amount, and then I will push pull that up some amount again. Oh, there I go, model and arbitrary. All right, so now what I need to do is that has to be higher, because I gotta take a swoop out of that. So I'm gonna make that bigger. I'm gonna pull it out further on the ends. And what I want to do is I want to actually match this right here. So I want to match this same angle. So what I would probably do, I could use a protractor, measure it, and try to do things like that. But what my knee-jerk quickest way to do is to select it, grab it by the bottom point, and make a copy of it right up here. And I'll just take that up to the top, push pull that through. And now what I can do is I can grab this piece right here, and I can swing it around and make a copy onto this end. Now, though, I need a center point to do that from. So if I come to the bottom, I can't do it, well, no, I can't do it from the top because it's the same length. Let's draw a line like that, go to rotate, option, there we go. Okay, coming along. All right, so in that's where we get this nice even, or nice shallow curve there. I will say, because some of them, I actually have seen this on more than one too, where it's like a roof. I've heard it about the way I say that word, roof or roof. So I'm gonna grab an arc right now, come back in here, grab an arc, and go from about here straight across, something like that. Push pull that across. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. I think that'll
I like
work.
it.
Save. All right, so one last piece. If I have time, I'll come back and we'll do that kind of roof thing on top there. Roof, whatever you want to call it. But I do, like I said, I have seen this, like most of the gates that I've seen do have this little sign. Like I said, I'm assuming it's a name or something like that, or where you're entering. It could be a blessing or something like that for people who walk under the gate. I don't know, but whatever it is, we're gonna put it on there, and that's all I have to say about that. All right, so I'm gonna hop in here. This will be fairly basic, because that's how I roll. I'm basic. I'm just gonna start with a rectangle like this. I should point this out too. I forgot. I did start a topic on the forum. So if you go to forums.sketchup.com, towards the top is a topic that says live modeling a Japanese walking bridge. So if you guys have relevant information or images you want to throw on here, go ahead and do that. I will, when I finish this model, upload 3 warehouse link to it here. If something else I would throw out, because, you know, I'm making this up, but I don't want to stray too far from the source material. If anybody can figure out what this right here is, what this says, like I said, it could just be a park name or something like that, but if anybody can get a good picture of that, it would be cool. I'll throw that, if anybody can grab something like that, a good screen capture, a straight on image of what those words or something like those words are. If somebody has that and puts it up on the forum, I'll actually throw that into this picture frame. All right, so that's about the size of the frame, the inside, actually the size of the text. And then there's a couple ways I could do this next part, but I think what I'll do here, I'm gonna come, you guys like it when I don't tell you what I'm doing and then just kind of mumble as I kind of do stuff? I'm assuming you love it. All right, something like that. So I'm going to take this. That's a little profile of what I think that frame looks like. Stick it right here. Grab this. Follow me with that shape. I believe that's about what that frame is supposed to look like. Okay, so, not quite solid. I'm going to make that into a new component, and that's going to be my gate sign. Why am I capsing? Why am I yelling so much? Gate sign. Awesome. And one of the things you notice there is that it does kind of do something like that, assuming that's to make it easier to read as you walk under it. But there we go. I'm going to come in here and grab all of it except for that. I'm going to give it a nice dark gray color. We're going with iron, the first non-edible piece of this this design thus far. Here, I'm going to grab all of that bridge, or did it again, all of that gate, and I'm going to right-click and make it into a new component. And that component is going to be called my gate. So one of the reasons of doing that is over here in Outliner, it's going to make it a lot easier to navigate if I have to come make changes or anything like that. I can hop in here, select a single piece, a little bit quicker and easier. I'm trying to use Outliner more and keep my models organized because it really makes it a lot easier, especially when you get into a big model with lots of components and pieces. And as I do that, I'm actually seeing that these pieces right here are all separate right now, so I'm gonna grab it. So I could call this my landscape. I could call it my landscape. I'm gonna have a networking party over here. Or landscape. Landscape, okay.
Aaron, what's that peripheral you're using in your left hand?
This right here is a Space Mouse, specifically the Space Mouse Enterprise from a company called 3D Connection. Depending on where, oh, it's reversed and backwards. Or wait, I guess they just go one direction. This is a 3D controller. It allows you to do things like all of the animating, orbiting, moving around, zooming with your left hand, and leaves your right hand free to do whatever work you want to do in here. So as I'm zooming in and out, I can be selecting things. I can actually do things like erase, paint, whatever, on the model while I'm moving it around in 3D space. So that's what that is. There actually should be a link to that if you're watching on either, I think on any of the channels. If you look at the description of this video, there should be a link to this specific model. Not a requirement for SketchUp by any means. You don't have to have it. You can do all the zooming, orbiting, moving around, panning can all be done with just a regular 3-button mouse. I do it because it's nice and smooth and more enjoyable to watch than a standard mouse moving things around. All right, I'm gonna take my gate and I'm gonna get it centered around the path. Oh, looking good, Mark. Actually, I'm gonna move you, Mark. I'm gonna grab you by your sneakers. I'm gonna put you on the far side. Our goal is to get to Mark. Look at that. Oh, so nice. Okay, so let's get a bridge in here. As is the case with so many things, it does seem like there's a number of ways to construct a bridge like this. They do seem to have some common, the bridges that I saw seem to have some common features. I mean, the color, red, they tend to have a couple posts through them. They do have this kind of swooping, everything's coming off of kind of the same arc, which is nice, a handrail, and then one or two of these bars or beams across there, and then evenly broken into verticals. And then they have these cool gold shapes at the tops of all the columns. That seems to be pretty common too. So, with that inspiration in mind, we're gonna go ahead and make a bridge. I do wanna actually make all the pieces of the bridge though, so I wanna not just throw a thing on here, but I wanna put in some members that are maybe like support members, and then panel or flat members that are on the ground, and then kind of work my way up. So let's see here. How wide is this? So if I go from here to here, 7.5 feet. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna start with, how wide is our bridge? Or how wide is our, so 4 feet. So I'm gonna make a bridge that's about 8 feet by 4 feet, something like that. Abutments. You're abutment. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I know that's a thing. All right, so I'm gonna come over this way. I'm going to start by drawing a line 8 feet. Yeah, I was kind of noticing that too. Look at that. There's some kind of a delay going on to my overhead camera. Not really sure why that's happening, or for that matter, how it's happening. Oh, and now it's gone. Problem solved. Because technology, duh. Okay, hold on one second. Let me see if I can get that to come back. Hey, camera. Yeah, that's what I figured. That is not the correct one. I got my sources crossed.
half expecting to see like a traffic feed come
Oh,
up.
Stuff got silly. Okay, hold on. This is where Matt would flash up the technical difficulty sign, but I don't have one of those, so I'm just gonna disappear. All right, let's see if that's better.
There we go.
All right, we're back. I know that's kind of why you guys show up. Is that overhead camera? So I didn't want to make you lose anything there. All right, so I am starting with a just an 8-foot line, just to check dimensions. That looks pretty good. That gets me shore to shore. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna start with a kind of a curved beam across the bottom. This will set the shape of my entire model of this bridge, and this will actually give me a kind of a reference for kind of how that arc's going to work its way up the bridge. So I'm going to start by I'm just going to draw a nice big rectangle, and I'm going to throw an arc on there and see how that looks. All right, drop that down vertically. Yeah, that looks, just kind of deciding if that's a big enough. Yeah, I think if you go any steeper than that, it's gonna be a hazard. All right, I like it. I like how that looks.
Time to save.
Good idea. All right, so I'm gonna take this. This is actually gonna be my structural member underneath. I'll take that and I'll give it a couple inches. And triple click. I do want this to go down closer to the ground though, so I wonder if I can drop this more. I might have to make it a little bit wider. So I'm gonna do this. I have to do some landscaping, get a smoother transition over here. Totally making this up, you guys. You know how that is. Grab this, pull this up a little bit narrower. All right, that I'm okay with. So I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna paint that with my licorice, and then I'm going to make that into a component, and this is gonna be my bridge beam. I'm gonna take that now. So I want my whole bridge to be 4 feet. So I want my stuff to, so I'm gonna grab that and make a copy of it. I'm gonna copy it 3 feet over. That's the basis for my bridge. All right, so now on top of that, I'm going to put my planks, my actual planks that the bridge will be built on. You know what, let me look at something. So it looks like these ones, the columns come down at the end, and then this just kind of spans over it. It may tie down at these two columns, but the floor or whatever, the underneath part looks like the whole thing is not flat under the very. So everything arcs. Well, let's go make that happen too. Thank goodness it's a component. So when you deal with something like this where I have my geometries all black, I can't see edges now. If I come in triple click or something like that, I can get them to light up, but sometimes it can be hard to deal with stuff that's black like that. To be honest, a lot of times if I'm modeling just for my own reference, I'll use something like a dark gray instead of black so I can still see the edges, but there are other ways to do that. One thing I can do is I can come into my styles and I could change my style color from black to another color while I do this. So that's an option. The other option, of course, is to just go to monochrome and make changes there. That doesn't change your geometry at all. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to turn off the rest. And I'm going to actually, so one of the things that I was trying to figure out is, let me give an illustration of what I'm thinking. That way you'll see inside my mind. All right, I gotta get rid of that green, I can't. All right, so what I'm wondering is if this bridge does this, or if this bridge does this. You know what I'm saying? If I look at it from the side, well, I guess it needs to do this, right? So this is a 1, and this is a 2. Okay, if this is an I, this is option I, and this is option Z. I cut too many corners on that Z. No, I didn't cut enough corners on that Z. If you guys looked at this, like, would you see, so I mean, obviously it's still cut, so I still have something like this when I look at the side of the bridge, and this is gonna be cut off. There's gonna be a difference, right? Yeah, Nathaniel's saying he thinks it's like this, because otherwise I'm gonna have some weird, like, it's gonna kind of come together at the ends if I just offset vertically. Yeah, option Z.
I think Z looks right to me.
Yeah. It's okay, but it does cause, it's an additional design concern. It's something I want to be conscious of, because that means as I do this, as I go through and start modeling more pieces of this arc right here is going to become very important, because I'm going to have to offset things to match that arc. All right, let's go ahead and offset. Speaking of which, I'm just going to start right now. Start with the now. And now I'm going to do a little push pulling to get rid of subtractive, 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 and additive, additive. Cool. So there are our new beams. All right. Still works. I'm still good with that. Okay, so again, it's not a bad thing, but we are going to want to come back here and be conscious of how we offset that geometry. So when I go to put the handrails on there, I don't want to just arbitrarily draw a curve. I'm going to have to come in here and figure out a way to reference that shape, offset it to create whatever those next steps are. Something to keep in mind is that nothing's bad, just something to monitor. All right, so because we got all this, thank you guys, by the way. Thank you for setting me straight and making sure I didn't do something too dumb. To put in our boards here, again, we're not dealing with exact materials, so my immediate inclination would be to just use my 12 pieces of my radius there and put boards on them. So I'll come in here and do something like this, where I'll click right here to, I'm off, aren't I? Ooh, this is an opportunity. When you show software, there's certain tools you just don't show that much because it's hard to find a practical reason to show it. And rotated rectangle is one of those. I've hit spots where, well, like doing roofs, again, whatever, where I've kind of struggled with with geometry and found out that rotated rectangles is a great way to do it. Here's another one. So what I can do, so if I try to do a regular rectangle on here, it's going to snap to this weird geometry. This is correct. This is staying in plane. But if I go to rotated rectangle, I can actually say I want to rotate like that, like that. And then I'll push pull this. I don't have my, can't see my thing. Let's go 2 inches thick. I'm going to grab that and I'll make that into a component. And I'm going to call this my bridge plank, because why not? All right, and each of these is supposed to stick out 6 inches on either side, because I had 3 inches wide and then this was 4. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. We actually, Nathaniel Wilkerson on YouTube just mentioned that he was thinking if you were to build this today, you would use glue lams for this, laminated veneers or not laminated not veneer, but actual laminated pieces of lumber that are connected together, and you can actually bend them and get nice curved shapes out of them. I would imagine that is how we would do it in America today if we were doing it, but I don't know back then how they came up with these nice big curved pieces. Actually, they're not a huge piece of lumber though, so it could actually be a fairly small piece of lumber or steel.
Looking at some of the traditional ones, it looks like in the center, it's more almost of like an inverted V. But you have to look very carefully. It's very subtle, but you can kind of see that in the center, they kind of join a little bit at a point.
Okay, that would make sense. 2 pieces, one coming from either side. That would make a lot of sense.
And then maybe they were, I don't know, steamed and bent or...
Yeah, it is definitely possible. It's cool to think how they make, some stuff we make nowadays, kind of take for granted, it's pretty easy to put together. But man, I gotta tip my hat to people who are making stuff back in the 1800s, and it's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to come in here. I want to get rid of my landscape for just a minute. So I'm going to come in to my outliner and I'm going to right click and hide my landscape like that. I could put it on layer 2. I should probably do that. I'll put it on layer next time and we'll do that. So one of the things I'm going to do before I do anything else, look at this. So I drew this on a curve, and that was intentional. Teaching moment. I didn't do something stupid. I did it on purpose to show you. So if I look at this piece right here, see how my geometry is right here, but my box is turned from it? One of the things I can do is if I come in here and look at this, the reason is the box, the control box they call it, if you're inside of a component, always aligns the axes of the group. So here's where my axes of my group is. I can change that by grabbing the axes tool, click right here, drag my red axes here, green axes here, and look how that changed where the axes is on it. If I click outside of it, it's going to say, do you want to update it? Is that a temporary thing, or do you want to commit to that? I did want to do that, so I hit yes, and then if I pick it now, my control box is tight around that geometry. I'm doing that now because if I ever come back in and want to change something in here, I don't want to have to like snap to weird angles to add geometry or whatever. I want it to just be real simple. Simple is good. All right, so I'm going to take that and I want to make a radial array. So if I, come on man, make me look dumb in front of my friends. Give me a snap point. What I was hoping for, do I have to come in here? Is it still an arc? Still an arc. I just seem to have lost my snap point. No big deal. So what I can do is I can draw a line down this edge right here. I'm just going to draw it really long. I'm going to draw another line from this point down this line. Again, very long. And now this point is the center of that arc. So what I can do is I can hit rotate. I'm going to rotate on the red. grab that point. And go from here, option. Oops, I didn't select what I wanted to rotate. There we go. Got so excited about where I was going to rotate from, I didn't pick the thing to rotate. All right, and I'm going to tell it to go, this end hits on a segment and this end hits on a segment. So I'm just going to grab this one, say option, go to here, and I'm going to rotate that X, 10 times. That did not turn out the way I wanted it to. So this line was not going to the right spot. Let me try this. Oh, those ends I kind of arbitrarily drew in, so those ends are not actually true segments of the arc. So I'm going to actually use these points, point to point, and use those. Those should give me the right spot. Let's try that again. Let's select this one, so rotate on the red axes from here. Now if I go end to end here, they should lay down right on top of the geometry. X9. Oh, there we go. Much better. All right, so I have two more to offset this way, or to rotate this way. Again, rotate from the end, boom, and boom, and boom, boom times 2. Oh, you can't see my, there we go, X2. I did too much clicking there. One more time. Encore presentation. Option. Click to there. All right, there we go. I forgot about that. These ends, these cut ends mean nothing. They're just some lines I drew. All right, so let's get everything turned back on. And go to outliner. Close my styles. Go to outliner and unhide. Nice. That's gonna work. I do want to, let's turn this on. All right, we do want to add color to these. I've actually, as I was looking, I looked at a lot of pictures of these bridges, and it's kind of amazing how often they look similar. Because I was just thinking, where I live, there's a handful of bridges. We got some streams and rivers and stuff like that, and I can't say that any of them look the same. So it was kind of amazing to me to see this, like, there's subtle differences, but very similar stuff happening over and over again. But having said that, this one obviously has concrete or something for the bridge part. This one, it looks like actually the bridge is actually red. But then I saw some with black. So I guess there are some variants there. We'll go ahead, we'll make them red. I'll triple click, and I'll fill that with my maraschino. That's a good looking bridge. All right, save. And next couple things. So we need to put a couple of columns on here. So I need columns that come up. And I'm thinking, my thought is to actually put those columns right next to the ends and bring them up. And I'll just do 4 on each end. And then I can put my, sorry about the back and forth. I'm trying to visualize how it's gonna work. And put my 3 things. What are those called? The top one would be handrail. The middle parts would be something else. Something that I don't know. Anybody got a good words for that piece? What would this thing be called? I'm sure this isn't a strictly Japanese feature either. I know that's a thing that handrails and rails and I don't know. It's a raily thing. So Christopher Baker's asking how to array if I have an odd shape. You can do a linear array where I go from one point to another and multiply that out, but that's going to continue in a straight line, or a radial array, which will radiate or copy along from a center point. Those are the two types. There is something called copy, is it copy memory or copy path, where you can tell something to go from one point and then also rotate or something like that. So think about spiral stairs going up like that. You could make one set of stairs by using a radial array to spin them around, but then you have to vertically offset each one. Likewise, standard stairs are a lineal array. They go one after another in a straight line, but to have it spin around and step up, you'd have to use something like an extension. Yeah, Nathaniel Wilkerson came up with a simple solution, which is to just call them rails. Lower, middle, upper. I like it. That's gonna work for me.
Let's go with that.
You know how I feel about simple. Simple is good. All right, so let's put a column in here. I need a spot to start my column. So I'm gonna say this point right here for no reason other than cause. All right, how tall would make this? Let's say we want this to be, I don't know. Let's see what 4 feet looks like. That looks too big. Green axes. All right, so that's 6 inches, 4 feet tall. That looks too big. So let's take this down, and then let's take this in 2 inches. All right, so that is a 4x4 post, 3 feet from an arbitrary point that I picked. Seems fair. Bring that down. I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to make that a component. And this will be my bridge post. And I'm just going to keep it simple for right now. We'll come in and add details. We'll put the gold cap on top. We'll intersect it, that kind of thing. But right now, it's just going to be real simple. I am going to color it properly first. All right, that looks good. I'm going to take it from this edge option. I'm going to go along the green axes, and I'm going to use this spot under here as a snap point to put that in. Now, again, I'm operating a little bit out of naivete, but I think the rails seem to be the same on both sides. So I'm going to model it on one side and then copy to the other side. Oh, I see what you're saying. Somebody mentioned it was round. You're right. They look like they're round on both of them. See, it's a good thing you guys are all here. Catch me when I start doing stupid stuff, which happens. All right, so I'm gonna go inference to the middle of this square. So that's where a 4-inch circle will be. I feel with a circle, I want to go a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go 2.5, which is going to give me a 5-inch circle. I'll take it and I want to scoot it over like this. And I'm going to push-pull that down. Okay, that'll work. So here's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to grab this, make it a group, and I'm going to cut it, Command X. I'm going to enter this component, and I'm going to edit, paste in place. Now if I hadn't made it a group, a geometry would start merging right now. But since I made it a group, I can triple click on my standard column, delete that, right click, explode, paint it in red, and click out. So now we have that same component on both sides. All right, now what we need to do is we need to make a series of arcs that come up the side of this post right here. So I'm going to do this. I need a reference plane. So I'm going to, where is my top? There's my top point. To here. Actually, it doesn't matter where I come down to, so long as it's past the point that I'm going to reference. All right. I'm losing my voice a little bit. So here is a plane I made. I made this. I need to get somewhere on this plane. I have to trace this line. So I could right now, I could actually come in here right now and just click, click, and draw that line in series. But that would be kind of a bummer because I won't have an arc then. I'll just have a bunch of lines. So not what I really want to do. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to grab these, my two columns, and I'm going to hide them. I'm going to grab my landscape and hide it. All right, and now I'm going to extend this all the way out. Grab it by the end. All I'm doing is use a move and then moving it on axes out to the end. All right, so again, if I do an intersect right now to create that arc, it's going to have a bunch of broken lines, which isn't a bad thing, but it would be really nice if I could draw all this geometry off of actual arcs. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to grab an arc, go from here to here, and then click right there. And what I just did right there is I created this brand new arc. You see, it is an arc, it has 12 segments, and now I can actually use that and offset it out. One of the things that I ran into that issue with the ends here was because I took an arc and I offset it down in. When you offset in, you end up with smaller geometry. By starting at the lowest possible point and offsetting upward, my geometry is always going to grow, so I'll actually be cutting the ends off rather than having to figure out or ballpark where the ends would be like that. I could, so Paxport on YouTube is asking if I could just offset. I could, I'd have to go into context. I could have done this too. I could have gone and grabbed that, copied it, and brought it out into this other context. I was just trying to show more ways to do stuff. That's what I do. All right, so I'm going to go turn my go to outliner, go unhide my two posts, and then I can grab this one right here, offset. I'm going to go my top rail first. So my top rail to come up there. My bottom rail I want just, the bottom of it should be just above my planks there, and then this one will go right in the middle of that. So yeah, I still want that reference. Whoops. Put that right about there. All right. Now, I'm going to click a line here to here, and from here to here. Again, you guys are catching on because you're all going, well, I would do that differently. And that's awesome, because there are so many different ways to do this kind of stuff. I'm just trying to get those reference planes lined up first. Okay, so there, there, and there. YouTube says, I love Outliner. I know, it's great. Isn't that nice? It is such a good way to organize your model and not lose stuff. I am good at losing stuff. So everything here ties into the column. Nothing hangs out over the end. I think that's probably by design. So I'm going to, let's see, what should I do? think I want to use follow me. So I'm going to start a circle right here at the very peak on the green axes. So these are 5-inch pipes. The handrail dies into it. It doesn't spill out at all. So I'm going to do something like, I'm going to do a 3-inch pipe. So I'm going to do 1.5 for my circle right here. And I'm going to, with this line selected, hit follow me, click this, see how that looks. Something went not right. I don't know if you guys caught that. What was that about? That's odd. All right, I'm gonna try erasing this line and this line. Selecting this, follow me. Weird. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. So here, what I was trying to avoid, let me show you guys this. I'm gonna turn these off again. What I want to do is I want this right here to be perpendicular to the line. So I'm going to grab this right here. I'm going to rotate. There we go. There I'm getting my reference point. Oh, it's so far away. I come down to that point right there. Red axes. And I'm going to move it from the current center point, which is at the middle of the arc. And I'm going to just rotate it down to the end of that arc. It's not quite, didn't quite line up. All right, now I'm gonna try grabbing this line and say, follow me with this. That's better. It's important, one of the things you really wanna make sure you do with follow me is make sure that that face is perpendicular to the line. I was trying to cheat by sticking it in the middle, but I knew I should have put it at the end. And yeah, SketchUp called me out on that one. All right, so I'm gonna also just do a push-pull on the end to make these a little bit longer so they run fully into my posts. So then if I go, why are you doing this? There we go. Huh, have issues. Okay. Let's go up here to unhide. Let's unhide our last things. All right, there we go. So that's awesome. That looks perfect. That ties right in. I will probably do the exact same thing then with my intermediate rails. So if I look here, this is a tall rectangle. This is more like almost a square shape, it looks like. So I'll just go ahead and throw those on there. I'm going to do the same thing though. I'm going to start at the point down here at the bottom. So I'm going to start with a line at this bottom point. See how far do I want to come up. Oh, it's good. Let's go up 6 inches. And then we made this 3.5, so I'm going to come this way 1.5. I'm going to go straight down. And I'm going to take that and just make a copy of it to the side. I can actually erase that middle line. So there's my shape for the bottom. I'll do the exact same thing. I'll click it. I'm going to hide these again. Grab this. Rotate. Hover over the edge. That'll give me my point down below. Constrain to the red axes. Take it from this point. Oops. It's connected, the geometry's merged, so I'm gonna hit Option to make a copy that I can drop right there. And I can just, I actually don't need this.
Question from YouTube, can't
Yes,
you
sir.
make a face and push-pull?
Yeah, I could have. Maybe I'll do that on the next one. Good call. But isn't that just fun? I don't know. There's something about follow me that makes me just be happy. Just to check, reference real quick, I can turn hidden on and off. I have a toggle for that. So you can see that I do have to bring these just a touch further to get them into the columns. But I can see that goes in far enough. Okay, so yes, this is what YouTube's asking. Can I grab this, offset that? Well, here, I'll do this one as a square, so I'll offset it 3 inches, and then push-pull 1.5, and, oop, see I made a hollow there? If I offset and I tap Option first, it'll leave that previous face behind. So then when I put 1.5, I have this other spot I can come grab and pull that out, 1.5 also. All right, time to clean up. Also, well, that will be the issue here. I will have to get a 90-degree face on here using inferencing. That way I can make that a little bit longer. Because obviously, follow me, just perpendicularly pulled that face out, so that's a little off. There we go. Pull that through like that. Remember extra geometry, extra geometry, extra geometry. Triple click, right click, reverse faces, triple click, right click, reverse faces. And then we have a handful of components to make. I'm going to call make component, bridge, top rail, and all right, there's my rails.
Now time to save.
Yeah. Command S.
Do it.
All right, so we're getting close, guys. We're getting there. My thought with this would be to actually cut these pieces to this. So I think what I'll do is come in here. If I go like this, select this geometry, right click, intersect faces. I'll lose my solids if I do that. If I click on this one, I'm gonna lose my component, but I haven't copied it yet, so it's not a big deal. So I'm gonna say, go to Solid Tools, I'm gonna grab my cutter and say trim this. Oh, it's not a solid. What's your problem, top rail? All right, internal face fixed. All right, grab this, trim this, trim this, trim this. Grab this one, trim this, this, this. All right, so with that, those are trimmed. I'm not going to bother making them components again yet, because the next step is going to be to put these intermediate column thingies in, and I'm probably going to do some more intersecting. So I won't bother going and making these back. So these are just groups now because I used Solid Tools on them. Let's go look. This bridge is obviously longer than our bridge, but you can see this is they've got a short baluster, tall, short, and I think on this one they do something kind of similar. Yeah, tall, short, tall, short, tall, short. So I'm thinking that on this one it's a shorter bridge, so they'll do a tall one in the middle and then a short one here and a short one here, something like that. So this first one, so I'm drawing a reference line, that's the middle. That's the middle of my bottom rail. So I'm gonna just grab a rectangle, I'm gonna tell it to stay on the blue axes, option to put it in the middle, and then draw it big, and I'll just use scale. I don't know. I'm making up a shape here because I don't really know. I'm a little confused about how this all works, but so I'm going to pull that up into there.
Getting some complaints about blurriness.
What channel?
Looks like YouTube.
I gotta. All I can tell you is YouTube's. He does look blurry. YouTube's giving me a green, which is a. But.
I mean, it
I
looks
can
okay on my
look.
machine.
Yeah. There is a lot of fan noise. That's because the AC just kicked on. Fun. That's kind of, yeah. The fan noise should stop in a moment or two. Yeah, we don't have a dedicated studio, so this is actually all set up in a conference room. So we don't have things like remote fans or silent fans or anything like that. I really hope that gets better though. Apologize for that, you guys. Yeah, and I'm not sure why it looks, on YouTube looks okay for you?
Yeah, my YouTube looks fine.
Huh.
Let's check the Twitch.
Huh. I guess I'll have to, yeah, a lot of people are saying it's fine, so it might be a local
Twitch.
thing.
Yeah, Twitch is okay.
Sorry. We'll have to keep pushing through. Worst case, if it gets unbearable and you guys want to come back and watch the recording, that is always an option, I guess. All right, so again, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. I kind of feel like these taper. So that's what they're going to do on mine. So I'm going to take this one right here. I'm going to grab just the piece on the inside. I did that just by doing a group select of geometry that I can't see. And I'm going to just use scale. Scale that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm going to scale it this way just slightly also. I'm going to grab it by the bottom surface and I'm going to move that vertically just down so it laps into the geometry. Okay, I like. So Nathaniel Wilkerson was saying he was having an issue but refreshed his browser and it fixed it. So those of you who are still having issues, you may try that. All right, I'm going to take this again, rehide what's below, grab all this geometry. I'm going to rotate based off of any of these points, or any of these round sections. And I'm going to make option to make a copy of it to, that is 7 degrees. Because I'm going to place it once, I'm going to select it again. Whoops, I don't want that plank to go. And I'm going to grab it by the same spot. Again, option, and put that at 7 degrees. Because they do that high-low thing, I'm going to just come in here, and I'm going to, here, I'll do this. I'll just use X-ray. Come in here inside here, draw a line across, and I can just push-pull. Oh, I can't just push-pull, duh, because this is not, I tapered it this way. So what I will do instead is this. All right, I'm going to make this a group, and I'm going to make this a group, and I'm going to make this a group. Now I'm going to start cutting. I'm going to grab this bottom rail, and I'm going to say trim this, this, and this. I'm going to grab this middle rail and say trim this and this. Look what happens to these groups. Now if I click in here, it trimmed the center out. So now I can just grab this geometry delete it. This one, same thing, delete it. This one though, this one's got to run through. So this is going to be different because I'm going to select this one and say trim, whoops, trim this, which will give me, whoops, I hit union. Undo, undo, undo. Favorite SketchUp command could be undo. I'm going to select this and say trim this. There we go.
Paxwort asks, any reason you wouldn't mark that center point with some temporary geometry given how much it's being used?
Some people like to do that. I'm not opposed to it. I know that I can go to that. I use the circle geometry and I use those points. I snap to them a lot. So personally, I just use that a bunch. But if you wanted to, it would not be a bad idea to just drop that down and, oops, I already lost it. That's not a bad thing to have. So doing something like this might not be a bad thing to have. That is a totally good call. Same thing here. So I'm going to say use this as the cutter and trim back this piece. Now that I've done that, so now I have these three pieces, all of my cutting and intersecting is done. So at this point, I'll probably come back and make these into new components. So if I go to make component here, and I call this my bridge top rail, it's going to say you already have something called that. So before, I was just kind of showing that, you know, I could name it as something else and do a replacement. No point in making a replacement now. I'll just overwrite the original with this new one. Same thing here. Make component, bridge middle rail. I'll know I have the right name if it asks me if I want to overwrite. And then again, make component, bridge lower rail. Uh-oh, it didn't ask if I wanted to do that again. It means I named something wrong. Hopefully I named the last one wrong. I don't have to change this one. Let's see what I call that. I called it bridge lower rail, bridge bottom rail. So, I mean, I know I can delete bottom rail. That's stupid. I didn't want that in there anyhow. All right, and now we'll, gotta name these things something. So this one is a one of a kind, but I'll still make it into a component, and I will call it my bridge center baluster. I'm fairly confident I spell that wrong every time, so. And then this one right here, I'm going to make it into a component also. I'm going to call it my bridge short baluster. And here's the other thing I'm going to do. Spindle. Ooh, I like that word more. Should have used it. I'm going to grab this one right here. I'm going to mark where this one is, delete it, grab this one, use, nope, actually I'm not going to use rotate because that's not going to work for the geometry. What I'm going to use instead is, I think of a couple ways to do this. I'm going to use an extension that I like to use a lot. I come over here. This is a middle point of the bridge. There's several middle points. This is a middle point. This is a middle point. This is a middle point. I'm going to draw a line out, draw a line straight up, and I'm going to draw a line back. That gives me a vertical dimension that is the middle of the bridge. And then what I do is with this selected, I can come up and click on this extension, which is Curic Mirror. And then I can hover over this piece right here, hold down Option to say make a copy, and click, and that's going to perfectly mirror that piece onto the opposite side of the bridge. There are a handful of mirror tools out there. There's also Flip Along. Flip Along wouldn't have done what I want to do in that case because I wanted to place it specifically in one spot. But yeah, mirroring is a cool thing, and there's a handful of extensions that do it different ways, but that's the one that I happen to use is Curic. All right, I'm gonna triple click into each of these, give them a fresh paint, a fresh coat of maraschino. Okay, looking good. I don't think in my images, I guess they go a little bit higher. So let's come in here, and I'm gonna do something like, I'm definitely use a follow me to create this shape. I'm gonna draw a rectangle that is half of the shape I want to draw. So it looks like I got a little spike, kind of a little squashed down circle, a little collar after that, maybe that same line from that spike, and then it kind of steps out, in, out, in, out, in kind of thing. A little bit of a taper. How was that for a... So the first thing I got is something like that, and separate from that I got something more like this. Nathaniel Wilkerson saying TIG mirror is good. It is. That is definitely a good tool. I really don't care which one you have, but it's probably worth having a mirror extension somewhere in your toolbox. All right, so now I'm going to just come in here. All right, and I'm going to draw a circle right here. I'm going to actually come back to that in just 1 second. I'll show you guys why I just deleted that circle in just one moment. So it doesn't look like the circle is actually a full circle. It looks like it's squished down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to triple click and make this a group temporarily. Then I'm going to draw a circle, reference line here, from the center like that, and I'm going to go a little bit bigger. Then I grab this circle, scale it to get me that shape. That's actually a little excessive. All right, and then I can explode this, get rid of this, get rid of these extra lines. I don't know if this is right or not. That's kind of what the shape looked like to me. And then I do have to put another circle down here. So select that circle, say follow me with this. That'll give me that. Meh, I don't love that. I'll come back in here. I want more spike. All right, let's try that. Follow me, spin that. Looks better. Let's look. All right, grab that, reverse faces, and I'll give that a nice gold color. Make it a component and call that my bridge post topper. All right, and then I'm going to grab this I'll grab it by the side. That point right there, option, come over here. There, whoop, hey now, clicked again. There we go. All right, so before I copy this over, I'm going to make it into another group. I'm going to grab everything that makes the rail, the full side of the bridge. I'm going to grab it, make it into a group. I'm going to call that group bridge railing. Here, hit option on the red to there, the group which I'm going to call my bridge. All right. And let's go to get the rest of you here. We still got more to do, but I might use move. When you click on move, you get these red handles, which let you rotate the entire selected geometry, in this case the group, about its geometrical center. So I don't have to pick a point to move to rotate from. What I can do then is I can click on it, and then pretty cool. I likes it. All right, gonna save, because of course. Now Mark is free to come and go from the other side of the small creek. All right, last thing, not last thing, post topper. So I'd like to kind of stick one lantern on each of the 4 sides of the bridge. I'm gonna do that. Let's go look at some lanterns. These ones got covered up. You can't really see the tops of these ones. But I forgot to check and see. Something like this. So this is also kind of cool because they're kind of Japanese architectural thing kind of going on here too. I got a couple different, again, it's not like there's a one way to do it, but they're all very similar, but they have their own kind of style. I like this one because it kind of matches our gate, where it's got a little bit of a swoop down there. But you can see with all of them, they got their 4 sides. They kind of taper, so there's a smaller square on the top than they are, or at the bottom than they are at the top. Above and below, they got these kind of crossing square beam things. They're cool shapes, and we're gonna make some. So I think that as I do this, I'm probably going to just model this all as one big mass, as opposed to modeling a bunch of small fiddly pieces, just for the sake of getting her done. So hopefully everybody's okay with that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start that. I'm gonna do this over to the side somewhere. First I gotta figure out how big I want it to be. So if I draw a rectangle right, or a square right here, how big is that? So that's about 1'4". So maybe I'll start with my bottom being 14 inches by 14 inches. 14, 14. All right, we're gonna start from here. We might scale the whole thing if we need to, but all right, so I'm gonna start like something like that. That's our base right here. Now it looks even smaller, doesn't it? We'll go in 12 by 12 to start. All right. Now, let's see. I'm gonna offset there, and then I'm gonna offset 1 inch here. Trying to come up with the most complicated way to make these simple shapes. I'll put a square here, here, and here, and then I'll just do squares all the way around. All right. I'm gonna take that geometry, just gonna swing it around X3, and then I will get rid of all this extra geometry here. You ever get to the point where you start erasing geometry and just kind of forget what you're working on or what you're doing or erasing? Pull that up 1 inch. All right, so that gets us our base down here. So now what I can do is I can take this and extend that up. Option, extend it up. Grab this then, scale this out to something like that. That may be a little, it may have been a little too much. Whoa, just settle down. All right, I went to 1.5, so let's see 1.25. That looks better. I like that better. Those lines are bothering me now. When I scaled out, when I brought that out, it did scale this up. So this is 1 inch down here, but when I scaled that, I ended up with 1.25 inches here. So I'm gonna get rid of these extra lines because the material's in there at an angle, but the material's not changing size as it goes up. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw the face detail on one side right now and then copy it around to the others. So I'm just gonna detail out this one side and then we'll just copy it around to the other sides. All right, I'm gonna do something like this. Push that in, push this in. And then they have, this varies from one design to another, but they all seem to have this frame with kind of geometrically offset lines. So that one, this one, same thing here, you can see that. So I don't think there's a wrong way to do it, but it does seem to be kind of symmetrical left and right and up and down. So what I will do, I'll start with something like this. So 0.25, that'll be the size that I use. And then, let's see, I don't know what I'm doing yet. It's the best place to get somewhere you've never been. I don't know where I'm going. All right, I don't know what I'm doing.
Did you just quote J. Peterman?
I did. I'm glad you caught that. I don't even know where I'm going.
Any Seinfeld fans in the
The best
house?
way to get someplace you've never been. So I'm going to move this one over 1/8 inch. Move it back 1/8 inch. Oops. 1/4 inch. There you go. All right, so I'm going to grab that. I'm going to go find the middle of that shape. And it was impressive that you picked that up.
I'm a font of useless knowledge.
Yeah, that sounds like a Seinfeld fan. That looks all right. I'm going to take this and I'm going to offset it. Actually, we'll do both. Take both of these. Option. Yeah, 1 1/8 sounds perfect. Why not? And this way. Option. Same distance. And then I can take this one. One 1/8, and then I'll do the same thing going down. So this is not, I'm not moving in plane, by the way. I'm intentionally moving along lines right here so it keeps me in plane, because that plane's not straight up and down, it's slightly angled out because of our scaling. So I'm making sure to actually drag along the lines. Here we have a couple lines we got to extend a little longer. And then I can delete this interior information. Yeah, their information. It's line information. It's info. Geometric information, which because I'm deleting it is much like information about quotes from J. Peterman and borderline useless. Still fun to know though. How many Seinfeld fans do we have online? I don't know if anybody made it to base camp last year, but Eric Schimmelfinney, who's a maker and SketchUp user, friend of SketchUp's, did a class on interior design, and he used Seinfeld's apartment as his model for interior design, which I respected. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so that now is what I want on each of these 4 sides. So I'm going to grab everything over here and get rid of it. Now, yada, 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 and we have a finished model. I'm gonna grab like this. So looking at it from the side, I can get most of it with a window. I don't like these crayons behind my head. There we go. But I get a lot of extra information too. I don't want all this stuff. So I can shift, triple click, or double click there, double click, and turn geometry off after the fact. Right. That's what I need. I need to rotate that from the middle of the square, so I could draw a line diagonally like this and pick the middle point, or I could come here, inference the middle here, inference the middle here, come out to where they meet, and option, rotate 90 degrees, X3, and there we go. That's the base of, or the bulk, really, of my lantern.
What exactly is happening when you shift double click? I've never seen that before.
So it's all about selection. So if I click, holding down shift turns on plus minus. So double clicking something else will add it. Double clicking something that's already selected will deactivate it. So holding down shift turns select into basically a toggle between on and off.
You can select, yeah, and you add and you subtract. But what does double clicking do with shift exactly?
So that has to do with, so a single click selects a surface or a line. Double clicking a surface selects the surface, the face, excuse me, I get called out for calling surface. It's actually a face, and all the edges that define it.
Oh, okay, that's really handy.
And then of course triple click selects all connected geometry. All right, that looks pretty sweet. Let's go look at some roofs. Now I'm just saying it like I'm exaggerating it just to be obnoxious apparently. Roof time. All right, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go straight up like that. 1 inch again, because that's what these have been thus far. Option offset this 1 inch. And I'm gonna work my way around. Making sure that I'm toggling on plus each time because I do want a new face created. All right, there we go. Oops. Now, I'm gonna do micro architecture. So I'm going to do this. This is again, just a reference plane. This is the middle between those two pieces that are coming out. And what I'm going to want to do is something like that. I'm going to take that and offset it. I'm going to mirror that. It's the other side. All right, let me get rid of all the rest of that reference plane because that's what I wanted to get out of it. I'll push-pull that to the other side. And then some. I'm going to actually pull those out to here. And then I'm going to take these ones out. No, actually it looked like they kind of stopped right there, doesn't it? Yeah, they stop right there. So this is my interpretation of what's going on there. Might surprise you that we are winging it again. All right, I'm going to take this surface and I'm going to make a copy of it. So option copy back to here. What that does is that lets me close this shape and then I can actually delete the outside edge like that. That's all extra geometry now. If I wanted to, I was being really, hold on. How many times does that happen? Have you guys ever done that where you're like, oh, there's some interior geometry bleeding out. Gotta delete that. Can't delete it. You find out it's something on your screen. I had a little dot right in the middle of this that I thought was some interior geometry poking through, and I tried to delete it. It didn't come off, in case you were wondering. I probably spent way too much time doing that in my life. So I'm just making up what I think looks nice here. I'm going to do the same thing here. This time, instead of copying that geometry down from above, I'm just going to grab this one right here, option copy it straight across. Oops. Why? There we go. And then I pull this right out here. Kendall, I assume you're laughing because you've done the same thing. That's what I'm assuming there. Oh, something's not right here. I did not do that correct. I did something not right somewhere. All right, go away. You come here, you come here. Don't worry, I promise I'm not going to spend a ton of time on chasing down what's less than perfect this time. There we go. Awesome. So we do have some interior, exterior geometry stuff going on, so there's a little bit of weirdness, but we'll fix that in just a second. I feel like we need to do something like this maybe. And maybe we'll push that in. That looks cool. Offset, double click, and I can push pull, double click, double click, double click. That's not a bad looking lantern, if I do say so myself, which I just did. All right. When we made this, I straight up did not worry about maintaining a solid or anything like that. It's not a requirement, but this is a cool shape. I may give this to Kevin to go 3D print or laser cut this. So Kevin, by the way, is a big fan of the laser cutter. So in case you guys are wondering. So it's not a solid right now. It's just kind of a mess of overlapping shapes. And I mean, there's even some stuff right here where if I look at this, see I have geometry lapping over geometry without breaking it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do this in as few steps as possible. I saved. I'm going to grab all of this. I'm going to right click and say intersect faces with selection. So that says any place, any face in that entire lantern crosses any other face, it's going to get cut. Now that I have that done, it looks like I still didn't, I missed a piece there. Well, now I'm going to check. All right. Now that I have that done, I'm going to grab all of it. I'm going to make it into a component. I'm going to call this my lantern. And I'm going to run Solid Inspector. Solid Inspectors can go inside and see where the problems are, see what's the issues. So obviously there's some serious issues here where I have geometry inside there that's not doing what it's supposed to do. Nothing that it'll fix automatically either. For the most part though, this is pretty simple because if I select and hide the roof real quick, I look down inside, like I said, I just have all kinds of geometry. So I'm just going to sit here and start by burrowing down into this thing a little bit. When you have too much geometry overlapping, Solid Inspector doesn't know how to fix it because it doesn't know what's inside and what's outside. A lot of times just by deleting a couple faces in here, I can run Solid Inspector again and it'll automatically fix some stuff. Still got some issues, so I'll run through here some more. I'm forgetting what's inside and outside on some of this geometry. As soon as daylight shows up, you know you went too far. Oh, so here, these are extra pieces. Oh, there we go. That's outside. That's too much. Uh-huh. Alright. Mm-hmm. Looks good. Mostly these corners are causing the problems. Little simple shapes, but I did not do a very good job of cleaning up. Alright, I'm not going to spend a whole lot more time on this. Delete, 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 and then maybe erase a couple things over here. Try again, see how close we are to solid. Fix, fix, fix. There we go. Edit, unhide all, and we're back out. Cool. I'm just going to give this some paint real quick. Let's maraschino it all up. And then this is what I actually should have colored this after I did my, or I should have copied the sides afterwards, because now all these stupid panels have to be painted individually. I guess it's not that time consuming. It's pretty satisfying too. It's like a coloring book. I have to click inside the lines each time. And that's it for the lantern part. Oh, dang, I got some ugliness. What happened here? I'm gonna option erase some of that geometry. Here, I'm gonna do this too. I'm gonna triple click, soften. Because I had a couple spots where I had some weird things going on. Ooh, and is that a backwards face, or is that, yep. Reverse that. Nope. Delete that. All right. Oop. That was, I deleted the inside of that. That's not what I was looking for. There we go. All right, and then, I think that's, maybe I'll throw some licorice on top. All right, couple few last things. They all seem to have this four-sided thing supporting them. And then, of course, they're on a column after that, and then some kind of a base. So we'll match the aesthetic of what we already got going on over here. So let's say I'm gonna put one right here. I'm gonna raise it up to about that size, and then I will, and square columns, yeah, square columns looks like. So I will again grab my rectangle from the center option, inference the middle, come across here, inference the middle, and let's say 4, 4x4 post. We'll drop that down to the ground. I'm going to do this from above. This is kind of cool because I can't see the geometry, but I'll select it and offset it out 2 inches, and then I'm gonna push that new geometry up.
We're planning on
3
rendering this
inches.
up when we're done?
I don't have a renderer that works right now, so no. But I will put it on a 3D warehouse and you guys can render it. How's that? Money where your mouth is, whoever asked that. Aaron Powell, best first name of anybody who's commented yet today. No, I don't have a render right now, so I actually can't, like straight up can't render it. All right, so I'm gonna drop that 2 inches, and then let's see, I'll just make an arbitrary rectangle. Pull that across. Nope, just want that geometry. And I will I'm grabbing the middle of the roof as my center point of this model, and I'm going to option copy that 90 degrees. All right, and because that intersection is not existing right now, I'm just going to grab all of it, right click, no, all of it, right click, intersect faces with selection, I'm going to triple click. Woo. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to grab this. Oops, put my red on there. Now I'll triple click, make component, and this will be my lantern post, or my lantern post, as it's known in some regions. And then I'll take both of them together again, make that into a new group, which I will call, I will make it a component, and call that my lantern on a post. Oh, I misspelled lantern again. Come on, Ann, show up. All right, put that there. And now I'm gonna grab, I'm actually gonna do the same thing I did on these other ones. I'm gonna take the base and extend that. There, that's the little dot I'm talking about. See a little dot right there? That little guy right there? Sometimes I try to erase those, but they're on the wrong side of the screen. All right, pull that down a little bit. And what I can do is I'm just gonna grab it right here where that base intersects into the ground, and I'm gonna, from there, move it over to here. Because over here, I have bumpy ground, so when I intersect with the ground again, you see it's gonna actually have pop through different sides on different spots on different sides. Let me go back here. That's in the middle of the path. That's not gonna work. Let's throw this. Copy that. Stick one on this side. And then we'll put more over on this side. Don't want Mark to be in the dark. Boom. That looks all right. I'm gonna do one thing here. I'm gonna come into my geometry for my landscape, and I'm gonna make it into a solid piece. I'm not worried about it being solid. I just wanna close up the edges because we have those foundations and stuff sticking through, and I think it looks a little bit messy, so I'm gonna do this. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll actually grab all these pieces right here. Oh, missed one. And then I will fill that with our charcoal color too. That's pretty cool.
Aaron Powell asks, how did you know where the ground was when you were moving the lantern?
I just let inferencing snap to it. So this right here, same thing. As I'm moving around, when I get that little magenta diamond, it's saying it's on a surface. So I just let it snap to wherever it wanted to. It's fighting to go there. I'm just letting it, just leaving it alone. Just go for it. Pretty cool. Oh, you know, let me save, and I got a component or two to drop in here. Finish this thing off. In the garden. Throw another one back here. And we'll scale that one down a little bit. And rotate that too. Ooh. Nope, I gotta get two on either side. Not that I'm looking for full symmetry, but it looks a little empty. So I'll put this one back further, scale it down. And bring this one forward a little bit. Nope. Rotate that guy. Oh yeah. Who wouldn't want to go in that garden? Check that thing out. Woo! Man, American gardens are boring. Well, that's all I can think to do. So what do you think? Is there something missing? What else could we throw in here? We're only at, this is a short one. We're only 2.5 hours. I thought we'd spend more time on things.
You can get some koi in that river.
Ooh. I guess we could do something like that. That sounds perfectly problematic. It sounds like the kind of thing to pursue. Let's do that. Let's save.
A boat.
And we'll throw a couple of super quick sub deep koi in here. All right, so I'm gonna do this is impromptu. This is off the cuff. So I'm gonna do we'll do a hexagon.
Someone suggests letters in the sign on the Torii gate. Although I don't know any kanji, and I'm afraid if I sent you something, it would mean like chicken parmesan or something.
Exactly why I stay away from that. Same thing. You know what we'll do? We'll put something in the sign in a minute.
Just in English.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna offend anybody. All right, so I'm making a hexagon tube. And I'm going to triple click to make it a group. And I'm come in here and I'm gonna use sessions. And what Vertex Tools does is it allows you to move geometry by the points rather than by the face or the edges. This is nice when you're doing something like organic modeling, because the other thing it does is it honors quad geometry, and quadded geometry is what things like subdivision engines need in order to make geometry look nice and smooth. All right, that's my koi from above. Looks like a packet of ketchup from the front though, so I'll work on that. Keep hitting the name of the tool that I'm already in. Shh, newbie, what are you doing? All right, so that's a pretty fish type shape. Now if I hit U, that's the shape I get. Oops.
I was joking when I said make koi, and you're just doing it.
We don't joke about that kind of thing here.
I will keep that in mind.
All right, and I'm gonna give this guy a little bit of a turn. So I'm gonna hit Vertex Tools. And I'm gonna kind of give his body a very fishy shape, you know, as opposed to a lure. Looks like a piece of plastic right now.
Ooh.
All right, so if I hit, that's a decent shape for a koi. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go to my, I don't have all my toolbars on because I wasn't planning on it, but I'm gonna increase subdivision slightly. That looks good. I come in here, soften that.
Aaron Powell with the fun fact: koi fish and goldfish are distant cousins, as they are both descendants of carp. But goldfish came about long before koi fish did.
And I'm just gonna throw this out there. I think that goldfish got an awesome food named after them, and I don't know that I've ever heard anybody talk about eating a koi or a carp cracker.
Okay, so the real question: are you a goldfish or a Cheez-Its person?
I got nothing against Cheez-Its, but I really enjoy goldfish, so do what you want with that. All right, I'm gonna just trying to get a big plane here. And I'll throw a carpy looking tail on. I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm trying to explain what's happening, but I haven't really figured it out yet. Oh, you know what we may do is maybe we'll use some more of that command I never used, the freehand line. I think they have tails something like that. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that could be a real thing. Do the same thing here, give him a nice flowy freehand line. Whoops. A little too much magnetism there. I'll take that one and I will down like that. Koi fish can actually get sunburns. Man, I'm learning so much here. I'm gonna find a middle point here and do the same thing I did before and mirror this fin. Good facts. Okay. Aaron, you seem to know a lot about koi fish. I'm not saying I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's a lot of koi information. I feel like I should be making puns about the word koi. I don't know why I feel that way, but I'm not. Something's off. That's what the problem is. Ooh, I can use a DBO push line. Allows you to take line segments, like this line right here, and push-pull it. You get one more fin on here. Oops, got the wrong command. Freehand line one more time. He's got a mohawk. That didn't close up. I came off axes the whole time. Okay. Delete that. Try that again. Let's get. There we go. Oops.
Got any good tips for manipulating freehand work?
I almost never use it, so no, I really don't have good tips for that.
Every once in a while, I find myself wanting to use it, and then I will rarely be happy with the result. So I was hoping you had the good kung fu for.
Alas, not so much. 'Cause I can say that even right now, I'm not in love with what I just made. So, all right, they have 4 fins though, right? So let's take these two. We're gonna slide them. Another copy back here. Scale them to smaller. And then move them. That's not right. When I'm moving stuff in 3D space like this can get a little kooky. So what I'll try to do, because especially since this geometry I'm moving wasn't made to fit into the spot that it's in, so I'll try to move it from different directions. So I'll look at it from one direction, spin around, move it from this direction, spin over here. So I can do that kind of thing. It makes it a little bit easier. I'm gonna grab both of these and squash them up like that. And maybe even. All right. Honestly, as I'm doing this, I'm like, what does a coil look like again? All right. It looks like that, apparently. I'm gonna color the whole thing orange right now, including backsides. I'm okay with this geometry being paper thin. I don't really care. That's all right. And that's, I will accept that. So I'm gonna go ahead and explode my body geometry so I can grab that, make that a new component, which I'll call koi. And now, I'm kind of thinking this will be a fun thing to try to do.
Just want to say
it's a magic trick.
We do see all the koi puns, and we are very disappointed in all of
I'm sorry. Yeah, I wasn't. I got to do a thing there. Is koi with a C or a K? By the way, let me throw that out there. Why do I want to spell with a K? I'm seeing both
it's
here.
With a K, right?
Yeah, but I see C's also. So I'm not one to assume that I spell anything right. So just you know, just that. All right, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna come in here, and I have a surface right now in front of my fishy. I turned on X-ray. I'm also gonna go to camera and turn on parallel projection. So now I'm looking directly at the side of my fish body with my shape turned on right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my freehand line again, and I'm gonna stay on this shape, and I'm gonna do this kind of crap. Ran out of space. All right, that kind of thing. So go back to normal camera now. So what I just created is a shape I can push-pull through there. See that? So I got that, it's all intersecting together now. What I can do is I can come in here and I can grab this geometry and this geometry, right click, intersect faces, I'll save just to be safe. Intersect faces with model, and I get a break right there. Now I can grab my paint bucket and my snow color And I can color my koi. Kois are fatter than that, aren't they? Let's fatten this guy up a little bit. They're not pretty fish, I know that. I mean, I guess beauty's in the eye of the whatever, but a koi there. All right, so I'm gonna scale him down, way down. Let's see, and I will grab him by the tip of his, oh baby, come on. All right, make a copy of him. Stick him right there. Flip him around the other direction. Maybe scale some of these to a little bit smaller. Grab these two. Whoops. Made the earth move.
That was what, 10 minutes to make a koi fish?
Dang, I was trying to eat up more time. All right, so there, now we have koi. We have, what's that? Obviously it's something I did. I'm not sure why it's floating in the model. Okay, I'm gonna delete it. All right, so we got koi in our river. We got our bridges. We got to put some words up here. That's right. I was saying we'll put some stuff up here. I was thinking that let's start with text, and now I'm trying to think of something clever. I had something and it seems to have seeped out. What do you guys got? What do we put on our the gate to our park? The park of low expectations. I do still enjoy that. Don't eat the koi.
We could do like a phonetic spelling of SketchUp and hiragana.
That would be possible. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. I always hear those. I always wonder if they're true, but I always hear those. You know, those. You hear that the stories of people who went and got Japanese tattoos. You know, they wanted beauty or love forever, and they got, you know, chicken fried rice instead. I wonder how true that is, if that's like a urban legend kind of thing. Throw some more lanterns on here. All right. Oh, the fan's back on. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I can. And it seems to be angry. What does that say, Paxword? That would be SketchUp, you think?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Okay.
That's pretty close to what I have.
All right. We're off the deep end here, but let's do this thing. All right. I'm gonna get rid of this. We're gonna go in here. All right, I'm gonna freehand this thing, so this could get ugly. You know, I did once upon a time attempt to learn the Japanese alphabet. And then I forgot it all.
Yeah, I think Pax Words is better. It's probably closer than mine.
Oh, say the biggest for last. All right, something like that. Hey, it looks good. I mean, I don't know what it actually says, but I'm feeling pretty happy about that, you guys. That turned out pretty sweet. Got our koi. Need a couple more koi in here though. I gotta put these guys down here. Teeny tiny koi. Sweet. Yeah, that's I was thinking importing it as a screen capture would be good, but I don't have an image, and I don't want to just pull it off of this because it'll be the wrong orientation. It'll also be white on blue from the chat box. So yeah, we could change some koi color too. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hide this. Are they components right now? They are components. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna grab 1, 2, 3 of them and make unique. That's gonna make a new instance. This is coin number 1. So all I gotta do is come into one of these and we'll change this guy to more of a red and kind of a silvery color. And by doing that, you can see that the other guys changed too because they were a copy of that same instance. Of that new instance, because that new version we made. Bang, man. I'm pretty content with this. This is not disappointing me that this is what we got done. Whew. I'm happy. You guys happy with that? Is that worth your time and energy? Everybody learned something? That's a big piece. Oh, you know what I might try? I just want to see what this looks like. I'm gonna go to, let's save. Go into my styles, get rid of my edges altogether. That makes those cherry blossom trees really stand out. And then I'm gonna turn some shadows on. Oh, I gotta adjust my shadows because I don't want ground plane. Ooh. That's pretty sweet. Let's adjust some things though. That was actually okay. Push shadows down a little bit, get some, there we go. Yep, that was what I needed. Look at that. That's super. Which I am saying myself. Yeah, I don't know if you guys were not hearing me. That's because I wasn't saying anything.
I had to put the headphones on. Like, what am I missing?
Sorry, didn't mean to abandon you all there for a second, but I did. Apparently I had to focus. Apparently at this point in the week, I can't adjust shadows and talk. So, man, that looks awesome. I am super excited about that. That was a lot of fun. And again, I'm gonna, oh yeah, that's a good point. View, let's get rid of the axes. That takes away, oh baby. That's I don't think I'm even gonna do anything else. Every once in a while, I'll go back in and make a modification or two before I upload. We did lose our writing though. That's the only bummer, is that writing was line work. So maybe I would go adjust that before uploading, but overall, like, I don't really know what else I would do. This just turned out so cool. Sometimes I've seen like last week, Vader had that little tension clip or spring clip or whatever it was we copied it off of Obi-Wan's and it was not the right style. I did go fix that offline and before I uploaded, but this, I don't really know what else I would touch other than just upload it. So this may be exactly what you guys see up on 3D Warehouse. It may happen very quickly after we get done. So yeah. Oh crap, my boss just told me to save it as a scene. Better do that. Awesome. That turned out cool. Yeah, let me hear, you guys tell us what you guys thought of this and what you think would be good to model in the future. Because that's this right here, this was actually something, obviously not this scene specifically, but this concept, this idea of a Japanese walking bridge was something that was submitted during a live stream. Somebody submitted that. So we'd love to hear what else you think would be good. We have a couple more coming up. Like I said, next week won't be here. So there won't be anything. You guys can come to our YouTube or Facebook page and hang out if you want, but unfortunately you'll be doing it alone. So we will come back the week after and we'll do something else. I don't remember what it is. That's why I'm not telling you what it is, because I'm afraid I'm gonna say the wrong thing and then we'll throw the schedule off and everybody will be all upset. So thanks, Chris. That's helpful. So yeah, let me know what else you guys think we should model, because we have a list, but we do have some of the items on the list are a little bit less exciting than others. So we have some stuff up there they're good ideas, but they're real simple models or they're real complex models. And we've already established that multi-session models are not what you guys want to see, which is fine. So I generally try to, when you guys come up with an idea, the first thing I think about is that 3 hours of modeling. So can I spend 3 hours on that? Can I get to a point where there's a good finished thing afterwards? Which, like, this is crazy that this turned out the way it did. It looks amazing. But if it's something that's like, well, that's really only 20 minutes of modeling, then we try to maybe expand upon it. If it's too complicated, then we go, okay, what's a simpler version of that kind of thing we can do? So That's kind of how we go through, and we go through your guys' recommendations. We do have, every time you recommend something, we actually take note of it and we put it onto a list. So we do have all the recommendations. Some of them I don't really still understand what they are. I don't know what a biometric house is, but that's on there. So whoever put that in, if you're still looking for that, we just need a little more information, because I can't really figure out what biometric houses are. So I don't know. Other than that, yeah, I mean, as Aaron Powell said, we're at the boom stage. Boom! And I don't know. Paxworth suggested a motorcycle. That could be cool. There's definitely a lot of cool parts on a motorcycle. That could be a fun one. Yeah, the words are gone. Yeah. Sorry, reading back through some of the past suggestions or comments. But yeah, other than that, this we're kind of there. We made it to the end of this thing. So as normal, we can hang out, we can talk, we can head out. You guys can go enjoy your Friday night or Saturday morning or whatever time it is, wherever you are, whenever you're watching it. Go enjoy that time specifically. Otherwise, yeah, I'm kind of wrapped up here. So as usual, thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Kevin, for helping me out when I forgot that I was doing this in front of people.
Oh, thanks for inviting me to hang out.
Thank you. And thank you all, of course, for coming. If as I always say, if it wasn't for you, I would just be modeling for myself, and that feels less like a thing I should do. I don't know. It's good that you're here. Just say that. So in that case, thank you. I'm gonna turn the cameras off now. We'll leave the stream running for a couple minutes. So if you do have an idea or two, the thought you want that would make a good model, go ahead and throw it in the comments. We'll still get it. And hopefully I'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Thank you.